Hi, my name is Sarah Koehl, and for this worship site project, I chose to visit the Buddhist Center of Dallas. And the address for this site is 8484 Stoltz Road in Dallas, Texas, 75243. And it is only about 10 minutes away from Richland College, so it was very convenient to get there. This place of worship is extremely beautiful. On the outside of the temple, there are statues of what is called the Laughing Buddha. The steps that lead to the temple are also beautiful. Even, just leading up to the temple, they have such beauty in them, and they're white and very elegant. The temple inside showed very artistic expression through gorgeous, unique art all along each wall of the temple. In the back, if you're walking into the temple on the back left, you start there, and then as you go along each and every wall along inside the temple, it tells the story of Buddha, and it's told in very detailed and just gorgeous art. And in the middle of the temple, towards the back wall, there is a large golden statue or kind of image of Buddha. And I really could not help but just be drawn in by the elegance and the beauty and just the gorgeousness of all of it, of the temple, inside and out. On the outside of the temple, there is multiple different statues, architecture, and even the garden and the yard alongside the temple was really, really beautiful. The Buddhist Center of Dallas fits into the broader religious tradition of Buddhism, and the Buddhist Center of Dallas was created, of course, for a place for all Buddhists of different careers and everything like that, but mainly there's a particular focus on students, and they found that students who were Buddhist here really didn't have a place, a peaceful, quiet place where they could come to and have their religious traditions. And so this site was built specifically with a purpose for students and other Buddhists, of course, as well. And they have been here since the 1980s. An interesting fact that I found out when I went to this worship site was that the Buddhist Center of Dallas was actually talked about in a magazine, in the D magazine. And the article mentioned how amazing the food was, and that the food was just like if a person was to walk around in Thailand. It's just like that kind of food that they would find there. And I'll actually talk a little bit more about the food in a few more minutes. Regarding the exclusiveness versus inclusiveness of this worship site, I was extremely surprised. Before I had gone to this site, I really didn't know what to expect. I had researched, of course, but I didn't know what to expect. And so, in all honesty, I thought that I would feel excluded, and not because of the people there or anything like that, but just because I didn't know what to do, what to expect, and I had never really been to a Buddhist temple before this project. But I was completely wrong. The first day that I visited the Buddhist Center of Dallas, I went up to the temple, and I tried to open the door, but the doors were locked. And so I thought, no big deal, I'll just come back another time and maybe it will be open. But there was a monk in the yard who was working, and he quickly came when he saw that I wanted to go into the temple, and he came and he unlocked the door without me approaching him or asking or anything like that. And I had brought a couple of family members with me, and he just welcomed us really and invited us in, and even to a service the next day. So, of course, that was very welcoming and inclusive. And upon arriving to the service that next day, again, I had some family members with me, and all of us were just greeted so kindly and so quickly. We were welcomed and given a book with the chants that they were going to recite during the service. And one of the lay people even sat with us during the whole service to kind of guide us through, because we had told her that we'd never been there before and we didn't know what to do at different times. And so she was really generous to do that for us. So this, all in all, in every little aspect along the way, this worship site was so inclusive, and the Buddhists there were just really kind to us. The worship experience at this worship site was unlike anything, again, that I had ever experienced before in my life, and it was an incredible experience, though. As soon as I got onto the steps, I was directed to remove my shoes before I went into the temple, and I found out why that was later on. And during the service, I witnessed a tradition between the lay people and the monks, this kind of going back and forth of reciting or chanting some material. And there were sections when just the lay people would chant and then the monks would chant, and there were also sections when they would recite at the same time. And at different intervals, the lay people would bow multiple times, but not, sporadically or anything like that. There were designated times for them to bow. And before the service started, I was again directed to that I could sit on chairs or on the floor, whichever one I felt more comfortable with. But I was told to keep the heels of my feet facing behind me at all times during the service, and I found that out why later when I talked to one of the lay people. Another part of the worship service was when the lay people offered food to the monks, which was really interesting to see. And again, that was something that I found out why the reason for that was later on. And after the monks ate, the lay people all ate together. Behind the temple, there was actually these little carts of food, and there was a lot of them all lined up, and you could either buy food there or bring food from home. And after the monks would eat, all of the lay people would bring the food together and eat together. And I just thought that was really sweet, and it seemed like, a family kind of thing, because, I don't know, just eating together is really special. So I really liked that aspect of this. And my family and I actually tried some of the food while we were there, and it smelled amazing and it tasted even better. And that was really going out of my comfort zone for me, because I tend to stick with what I like when it comes to my food, but I'm really glad that I tried it. I tried pad ki mao and pad thai. And again, it was really great food. Upon trying to interview someone for this worship site project, I was really surprised with how easy that was, and just, not even interviewing, but just talking with them and hearing about the religious traditions, I found that they were really willing to share with me, and that was really, really neat for me to see. One of the lay people that I spoke with was Shelley, and I learned that the reason the lay people provide food for the monks is because monks do not eat after noon. So they have their worship service in the mornings, and then they will offer food to the monks after that so that they can eat before noon. And she shared that monks can eat melted types of food after noon, but just general types of food they do not eat after noon. She also enabled me to understand why I was directed to keep my feet behind me during the service, and she shared that it's just very disrespectful to show the monks the heels of your feet or to have your feet in the direction of the food that is being offered to the monks. So I'm really glad that she shared that with me, and she even compared it to spitting on the cross if you were in a church setting. So she was very helpful in helping me understand that, and she shared that taking your shoes off, that is required for the carpeted areas. So where there's carpet, you have to take your shoes off, but where there's tile or anything like that, then you can have your shoes on. Shelley also shared a couple differences between lay people and the monks, which helped me understand a little bit better what was going on and everything there. So she shared a couple different things. Of course, she shared about that they do not eat after noon, but she also shared that they do not watch TV or that they do not have sex. Again, Shelley was just very generous, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to talk to her and interview her, and she was, again, very inclusive for us. I'm so glad that I was prompted by this class to visit a worship site, because this is something that I never would have done by myself. because that's not really my nature, but I'm really glad that I had the opportunity. It was eye-opening and really enjoyable, and I experienced things that I never had before and learned some new information that even though we studied in class, it came to life when I was there and when I was able to experience it. Throughout the trip, I was able to recall information. This was a really cool part for me because, we had talked and studied Buddhism, and I was able to share those things with my family when we were there. So when we would look at the art along the walls inside the temple showing the story of Buddha, I was able to, tell them this is what happened here and this was what happened here. And obviously, I'm not an expert and I'm learning too, but I was able to have those small little moments where it was like, yeah, I get this, I understand it, and I've studied it, and so that was really neat for me to be able to do. After the trip, I found myself comparing and contrasting Buddhism with other religions. I had done that throughout our class so far, but I really did that since I had gotten to experience this. And so I compared Christianity to Buddhism, and I found some similarities between the two. And one of those similarities is that both people, Buddhists and Christians, try to live upright lives, kind of morally right lives, and they're both seeking peaceful lives, lives not filled with sorrow. No one wants that, but that's the reason why they're living the way they are. And I also found Christians follow the lifestyle of Jesus, whereas Buddhists follow the lifestyle of Buddha. And obviously there are very clear differences that Christians follow, they believe more different things about Jesus, but I did see that similarity in that they follow the lifestyle of those people. And again, there are important, clear differences between those two, but I like that I was able to really reflect upon these two different religions and also other religions, but to see similarities and differences between the two. I really hope that I have the opportunity to visit another religious site soon outside of what I normally would, because I learned a lot and it was just so enjoyable and so fun. So thank you, Professor Ewing.